A conversation with John Grant. Learn more right after this.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg.
Doc.
I did not.
Well, this is a more subdued show this time. We're going to break it down a little bit this time. Follow up show from the last show. So we're gonna I'm going to ask questions this time, okay? So
Okay.
We'll go
All
ahead.
right. Well, on the slight chance that a couple of our viewers missed the other show, which I can't imagine that could have happened.
Not our show.
No. We had a conversation with John Grant about the Celebration Bowl, which is a championship game, really. First time building a new tradition between two HBCU conferences.
Correct.
On December 19th. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay. And it was quite obvious in that discussion that really we just got kind of the basic information out and that there's a lot more going on. So well worth a second conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fitting because I'm excited about the history of the Celebration Bowl, but also I believe in the importance of the Celebration Bowl. Because we do, most students know institutions because of their sporting events. You know, a lot of people, just recently we had the Georgia-Florida game, and I was just thinking, you see all these people with all this Georgia paraphernalia and Florida paraphernalia, how many of them actually went to Georgia, Florida? Probably a small percentage. But sports have really put universities, colleges and universities on the map. Most people can identify logos of sports team more than they know anything about the college itself. So for me as a alumnus of an HBCU, I'm happy to have a bowl game that will showcase, HBCUs.
You went to an HBCU?
You better believe it.
I didn't know that.
Well, I know you were because you took me to fill out the application, so I know that. So I know you kidding on that one. And I thank you for that because it made all the difference in the world.
Well, we don't want to take any time away for our guests, so stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we are thrilled to have back again with us John Grant. Welcome again.
Thank you. Happy to be back with you.
So we established on our last show that the Celebration Bowl is the start of a new tradition. December 19th, championship game, high noon, between two teams that as of today, we don't know who they are. And that's great, but there's more going on. And you and your team have put in place, I guess, a lot of other activities and events around the game that would make it, I mean, even if there was no game, there would be all of this other worthwhile activity to go to. So help us out there. You may not get to all of it, but what in your mind are kind of the big things going on around this big championship game?
Well, we have both bowl-related activities for the student athletes and their community-related activities. So I'll talk very quickly about a little bit of both. One big thing that we need to know: we are moving. ESPN is moving the College Football Awards show out of Orlando. It's been in Orlando for years. The Home Depot College Football Awards show is the Oscars of college football. All the major awards with the exception of the Heisman. That's being moved to Atlanta on December the 10th. And that will be at the College Football Hall of Fame. It catapults us into the Celebration Bowl week. Big event, red carpeted, all of your top college football players in the nation that are graduating, or not just graduating, but top players are getting honors that weekend, on that day. Then we couple of things we do have that are great, especially community related, because we're adding something new this year, Greg, and that is a goodie hack. It's like a hackathon for college students. They're going to be given, certain community related problems, and they're going to use technology to really solve those problems by developing apps or whatever is necessary for them to address the problem at the college student level. Then we have a male youth symposium where we invite 600 to 1,000 young men from high school young males to a symposium where we have conversations on leadership, decision making, how to dress for success. And this year we're premiering the new Jesse Owens movie, Race, where they'll be able to premiere that movie. We'll have some of the actors there to talk and engage in dialogue with them on that. That happens on Thursday. On Friday, we have a college fair for high school seniors and juniors, where the schools from the various conferences, along with other schools, will be involved in a college fair. We generally have about 70 or so colleges and universities there, and we average about 4,000 to 5,000 students to participate in the college fair. We have a robotic showcase and invitational, introducing young people to STEM. And I know you here have a great robotics program with the 100 Black Men of Rome. So that'll take place on that Friday as well. And then we have a major fan experience on Saturday. And we're bringing Sports Center on the road, which will set up from 9 until 11, game day, just outside the Georgia Dome. A lot of fans, a lot of activity, a lot of signs, a lot of engagement with bands and high school bands and the college bands, really just getting fans excited for what will happen inside the Georgia Dome at 12 noon.
I'm tired.
And we haven't even kicked off yet. And I haven't even gotten to post game, where we're going to have a post game high school battle of the bands.
Wow.
So immediately following the game in the Georgia Dome, we're selecting 4 of the best high schools, as well as some dance teams. That's the hot new thing now with these dance teams will be performing post-game inside the Georgia Dome.
All that for as low as $15?
All of that for as low as $15, and for the big ballers like Gregory, with club seats are $60. So, but like I said, we've made it affordable. We want people to be able to bring their families, their children, to come out to a day at the Georgia Dome, experience all the activities that are taking place around the bowl weekend, but more so to be a part of this great event called the Celebration Bowl.
That's a lot. But it's a lot. But see, that's what I love about the 100 as an organization, and I love what they're doing with the Celebration Bowl. Because see, ESPN could have easily said, okay, we having this bowl game, we have the resources, we can put this game on just as a game. It's a bowl game. People will come. But the fact that they've involved the community, and the 100 of Atlanta is a part of that, to ensure that, you're not just coming to this city to have a bowl game and just that's it. You're going to have an impact beyond just the game. And I love that, because I think so many students today do not realize the significance of HBCUs. You know, a lot of us, we see the teams on TV, we develop a following, schools develop a following, but there's a lot of great HBCUs, and they're producing great Americans. And I want kids to have the opportunity to see that and interact with people from different schools. So that's what I love about this event.
Well, you know, that's something that you mentioned, and you can go down the list. People may not realize that 3 of the last 4 mayors of the city of Atlanta attended HBCUs. That Michael Strahan that you see every morning on Kathy and Mike went to Texas Southern University before he was a New York Giant. That Jerry Rice came out of Mississippi Valley. That and you can go down the list, not just of athletes, but I myself am a product of an HBCU, North Carolina A&T State University.
I won't hold that against you.
Well, I know you won't,
brother,
but Aggie pride. Let me say this: North Carolina A&T graduates more engineers than any other school. HBCU graduate engineers than any other
but when
school
Oprah
in the
gave
nation.
$5 million to Morehouse, they said, Oprah, why you get that money to Morehouse? She said, because if you empower Morehouse, man, you empower the world. But so I'm gonna let you keep producing.
See, this is what we
Do
like.
we really have to go there?
This
Do
is what we really love about because this is the banter you get, and that's why this is the essence of the Celebration Bowl.
Yes.
It's this kind of good-hearted banter, pride in your institution, pride in what these colleges and universities are doing to generate what I call great human capital for our nation. I mean, thousands and thousands of graduates each year pouring out across the country, doing things like what Greg is doing here, myself, and many, many others are contributing, you know, to building a great nation. And that's what we have to get the message out about the value that these institutions have to the fabric of this country. And the Celebration Bowl is a great platform that we will use to showcase that value and to help people and educate the nation on what contributions these institutions are making and the products that they're producing. And hopefully there will be hiring managers of companies out there looking for talent, saying, well, you know, we want diversity. We don't know where to go or don't know how. Well, here it is. Through these fine institutions, and the Celebration Bowl will be a great platform to introduce them to that.
We probably should talk a little bit about HBCUs, just generally speaking, apart from this event. And it made me think, you know, when you were telling us just in these 2 conferences how many colleges there are, we forget sometimes how many HBCU colleges there are. And I don't have a number, but I mean, it's a significant number.
It's in excess of 135, almost 140.
And we've lost some over the years. So,
and it's a combination of private and state institutions. And I guess I had in my mind that a lot of them were in the South, but obviously they're in many places around the country.
They are vast majority. When you look at the huge concentration that's in the South, but you're absolutely correct. I mean, the first HBCU founded was Wilberforce in Ohio, and so when you start there, and you heard me talk about just the Mid-East Athletic Conference going as far as Delaware, and then we go down to Florida, Mississippi, Texas, etc. You're absolutely correct. They are scattered, but primarily toward the east, the largest concentration in the South.
Well, I've got some questions about HBCUs, and I think I need to ask them since y'all are both here today at once. We're coming up on a break, though, so I'm going to hold off. I know this. So
I know you just.
I know. I have a tendency to ask the big question right before,
Yeah, right before it's time to take a break.
But I'm going to hold on. You stay with us. We will be right back after this.
I'm transferring to the University of West Georgia.
Columbia University,
Kennesaw State,
UGA, Loyola University in Chicago,
Grambling State,
Shorter University.
I'm going to Greensboro College, and we all got our start at Georgia Highlands.
No matter where your educational journey takes you, you can get your start at Georgia Highlands College. Georgia Highlands College. Enroll, engage, excel.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're having a conversation with John Grant about the Celebration Bowl championship game between two HBCU colleges on December 19th, with a lot going on around it. But we've been talking about HBCU colleges as well. And I know that there are people who are thinking HBCU colleges have outgrown their need in society, that maybe it's time to move away from colleges that are built around minority students only. But these colleges are extremely healthy, or a lot of them are. And I know that's an argument that y'all have heard. What do you say to that? I mean, I know you're both big supporters of HBCU colleges. What is the great value of having them continue and to stay healthy?
There is, having spent the last 13 years as CEO of the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, let me tell you that there is nothing more critical to the evolution and maturation of a young person than the time when they graduate school and leave home. What HBCUs provide young African American boys and girls at that age, I call them young men and maybe in young women at that age, is the opportunity to mature in a nurturing environment. Let's set the education here for a minute, because education is two parts. Mm-hmm. You grow as a person and you grow intellectually. You can grow intellectually and never grow as a person. And what HBCUs provide is a platform for those young people. And that's not necessarily applied to all. Some people are ahead of others, and that's perfectly fine. But what it does for the vast majority is provide them a place to be nurtured, to grow, and to develop into really thoughtful, confident people who are better contributors because they have a sense, they've grown with a sense of self. Mm-hmm. So to those who make the argument that the time is up, my first response is, well, you probably never attended one. Yeah. And that's okay. But for those of us who have, if you are a listener and you're willing to learn, then be clear that the argument is about the ability to create solid citizens for America. Mm-hmm. And one size does not fit all. HBCUs provides that other size that America needs in developing its human capital assets. And you need to use all of the tools in your tool kit, not start taking tools out because you don't think you need them. Because the moment you take them all out, you realize that you do, but they're out of the toolbox, and now you're caught. And so that's my response to that.
Well, I know that the HBCU experience has meant everything to you.
Everything. It has, because I think when I look at my brother John here, one thing for me, and I think for a lot of students, when you go to a HBCU, especially if you grew up with all of your education in predominantly white institutions from K through 12, and you go to a college and you see black scholars, because mostly of what you're taught K through 12, you really don't learn about a sense of black contributions to America and to the world. And so when you go to a school like a Morehouse and other HBCUs, you see these scholars, doctors, black doctors, and you see all these professionals, and it reinforces. It says you can be this. The motto of the 100 is what they see is what they'll be. Well, if you tell young men and women they can be scholars, they need to see scholars. And when you go to a school like a HBCU, I also think you remove a crutch. See, because when you go to HBCU, everything you have encountered in your life, you're going to find people who have encountered it as well. And they're not going to allow that to be an excuse, because they're going to say, what road you went down, I went down that road plus some. So I need you to step it up. I need you to man up, woman up, and take your rightful place. I cannot accept that baggage you're bringing, because I have that too. And I think that is critical, because as John said, creating a nurturing environment for young black men or young black women, I think it's about relationships. And sometimes at predominantly white institutions, while they may be great academically, I don't think sometimes they have the ability to create those nurturing relationships that students of color need. And for me, I know I'm a proud alum of Georgia Highlands, but I tell anybody I'm a Morehouse man. And I know Morehouse contribute not just academically, but as John talked about, that maturity, that sense of self, that who I am, that no one can take that. No, I'm not intimidated by anybody else because I know who I am. And I love that. And I love Georgia Highlands, but of all of my classes I transferred from Georgia Highlands, because I had my associates, Morehouse looked at everything and they accepted every class, all my classes except in one area, history. They said, I'm sorry, Mr. Shropshire, go back and get your history books and your syllabuses and all of this. We need to look at it a little bit deeper. So I had taken 3 or 4 history classes for an associate's degree. Dr. Alton Hornsby, the first African-American to get a PhD from the University of Texas. He looked at it, he said, I'm sorry, we can't accept your history classes. This is not adequate. And I was furious. Man, I got to take all these classes again? But I was so thankful later because I learned about us as a people in the diaspora and in the world. And I just don't think you can get that necessarily always at a predominantly white institution. And we need it, and our kids need that. They need that sense of I belong.
Can I say this and add to this? Now, more than ever, with the because technology puts so many images right at your fingertips, and makes things instant. There isn't the opportunity, and we see it playing out all across the country. It's playing out, and today, and the role of our historically black colleges and universities is the channel to create corrective action. As we sat here, I asked you a little while ago, I saw a commercial that you had with all these chairs on a long highway, and you told me that it was about dropouts. Well, we should be asking ourselves the question, why are our kids dropping out? Is it because they don't maybe see themselves, they don't see a trajectory for themselves, and this is what we have to recreate, and this is what organizations like 100 Black Men of Atlanta, I know this is what you're doing here at Georgia Highlands, but primarily our historically black college and university are the places. And I'll end it with this. My most difficult professor was Professor John Mars. And he taught strength of materials, and he taught heating and air conditioning. And I was an industrial engineering major. My first day in his class, I took 2 classes in one semester. Went to his class, 8 a.m. class, went through the roll, blah, blah, blah. I came back at 1 o'clock. He called the roll again. John Grant, Mr. Grant, I raised my hand. He said, weren't you in my class this morning? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, you need to drop. You need to drop. No one takes 2 classes under me in one semester. That's what he told me. And I said, no, sir, I'm not dropping. The most difficult semester of my time there, passed both classes, and what he told me at the end was, not that no one took two classes, he challenged me. He looked at me and said, I knew that you could do it if I challenged you. And in most other cases, I would have been a number in a large class and lost in the shuffle. But he was there whenever I called him to come to his office, to meet with him. He was there for me. He helped me, nurtured me. And because of him, and I give him, when I think back, I always think of him, John Mars. But he also brought professionals in so that we could see engineers from General Motors and the automotive companies and all of that to speak to us, to show us that what they see is what they'll be, that you too can do that. But he also said, but you have to get this right, because you can't build a bridge and it's partially wrong. It will either be all right or all wrong. John Mars.
Well, what y'all have talked about HBCUs just reinforces how important the Celebration Bowl is, which is, and explains the celebration part of the title of Celebration Bowl. On the surface, it's a championship football game, but really, it is a celebration of HBCUs.
Yes. And
the attention that ESPN has brought to it, ABC broadcast game, and the Falcons, along with the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, all the attention that they've put on this event and everything around it is a testimony to the value that these organizations place on HBCUs. And so the attention and publicity is all part of that commitment. So I think
we'll be there. We'll be there with students.
And you know what? I want to invite you to come and experience. You should come and have an experience that I'm sure with the diversity of your student base, you will gain something from it that you can see has value. So, Greg?
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. We're coming up on a break. When I come back, I will give you contact information again so you can get more particulars about the Celebration Bowl coming up on December 19th. So stay with us.
Seven 7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've had a conversation with John Grant about the Celebration Bowl, which is coming up on December 19th. The game is actually at 12 on that Saturday, but there are events days ahead, later after the game. So you really need to book a nice hotel for a week to get it all in. I don't see another way around it. But for more information and details, you want to go to this website, www.thecelebrationbowl.com, and then you can find out all about it. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll see you all next time on Community Watch.